Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. We'll be going through live order flow analysis using Bookmap. I'm your host, Bruce. I am the lead educator here at Bookmap. I'm your host, Bruce, and we do this webinar every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. On Wednesdays, it's Jay Trader, a stocks trader. On Thursdays, it's Scott Pulcini. We have a host of other traders all day long in our Discord and YouTube channel. Let me show you where you can find out more about that. If you go to bookmap.com and then click on the More button here, you can go to our new Learning Center here. Click on that under Resources. There's some guidelines here if you're new. Then in here, join an event. Well, it just basically scrolls you down the page. You can see our streamers in here. And then this is our calendar here, right? So we have all sorts of events in here. Note that on Monday, there are no events. I'm sorry, that's not true. In fact, I need to, this calendar is not working quite right. It is new. There are two events that will take place on Monday. It is a U.S. holiday this Monday. So the markets are closed. However, not in India. So Anshul will be going over Bookmap in India. And then Paco will be going over the Brazilian markets. This is in Portuguese. Right? So those two webinars will occur. Anyway, check out this new Learning Center here. We've got all sorts of connections course or getting started course, market mechanics, order flow phenomena, add-ons, and insights. All sorts of links to other things up here as well in our community. So it's a great place for coming to find out more about how to read order flow and utilize Bookmap. All right, so yeah, you can reach out to me on our Discord channel. And my Twitter is @floworder.com or @floworder. Let's go through the disclosures and jump into these markets. All Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's jump over here. Good morning, Shadow. Let me go over to our Discord channel now too. Morning, Hector. Slow down. Welcome back. Slow down. Nice to see you. You've been doing really great work. We're going to talk more about this Bookmap Junior Academy. I know I keep teasing everyone about it, but it will launch here very soon, and very excited about it. It's by invitation only. If you are interested in something like this, it's I'll talk more about it, but I would recommend that you join our Bookmap Blue Jacket competition. Okay, so I can show you where that is too on bookmap.com. And then it's Blue Jacket. Hold on. Go. Oops, that is not it. Here it is. All right, so I'll put this link into the chat for you guys too. Yeah, it's a competition. You create content, and the best content wins 3 months of Bookmap with data. All right, so like I said, I'll put that into the chat here for you. It's kind of a precursor to this Bookmap Junior Academy and Bookmap Academy. All right, enough on that stuff. The holiday on the 19th, June, is Juneteenth on Monday, so markets are closed, no events except India and Brazil. And then another thing too, like we've gotten a lot of questions and support for those of you maybe new to futures about rollover. You should be on the U contract, the September contract here for the quarterlies and the 6E, the bonds, all that kind of good stuff. Anyway, you can see we just had some data here right at 10 a.m. And let's see, let me pull that up here on. Okay. And we'll also want to talk a little bit about the Fed and what's going on in these markets in the bigger picture, because and we'll get into the order flow, but there's a theme I want to go over today. I think it's really important, and we're going to talk about breakout trades and trending trades. All right, so and what to look for in the order flow. In fact, I'm looking for it right here, right now. I'm looking for buyers up at this little corner up here. And I don't know if, no, I don't see them. Okay, so I don't think it's quite ready yet. Anyway, I'll cover more about that in just a second here. Let's see, what was the data that we just had here? 10 a.m. Oh yeah, consumer sentiment, University of Michigan, yeah, a bit better than expected. So that's nice. But and you can see the bump up here. All right, let's take a look at this again here, and I'll show you what I'm looking at and what I'm looking for. The book looks good. See the support underneath here? That's good. I want to see these guys maybe pull on the offer here, and I'm looking for buyers in here. Here they are. Okay, buyers, let's see you lift it up into 82. Maybe we can get up into liquidity up here, 85, maybe higher. Okay, this is a really, really simple setup and strategy. And there we go. There's our 82, 82 and a half. And this is what we're going to talk about today. All right. So, and talk also about risk management in here. Right. So this is still good, still on. But we'll talk about how you would want to manage this, because you don't want to turn this winner into a loser. Now, again, this is not a trade recommendation. We don't do that in this room. This is about learning about how to read this and look for a higher probability outcome in your trade, right? By understanding the participants in the auction here. All right. So this was what a setup in here. Right, and now look where you would have been getting in here. It's a horrible entry, right? At the top of the range is where you're getting in. All right, and we're looking for just the move up into 82, maybe 83 and 85. You know, it's up to you how you want to manage this. If you want to take some off, give yourself a little bit of breathing room in here, and then try to look for a runner here. Okay, and then look into the behavior here. So look at the book here. This is not what we want, right? So is this going to work now? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see if we get our buyers up here, and I'm not seeing them. Okay, now the other opposite scenario in here. What if we start getting sellers down here? Okay, at the bottom of this little range in here. All right, so this is making, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to, you know, we're talking about trader psychology as well. And that's going to fit into the trade management part of this, though. Okay, because that trader psychology stuff, I like I said, I think it's just a bunch of hooey. You should know how to manage your trade. As simple as that. And you can take all that trader psychology stuff and toss it. Okay, how does this mess with your head in your trade management? How are you going to react? Okay, that's what's key here. Anyway, let's cover this here on a higher time frame. Very, very simple. And I'll show you another example. I actually took a trade this morning during some meetings. It's not much, but it's something to show you guys and show you how I managed it in here as well. All right, so we'll go over that, but let's start with the higher time frame. This is a weekly chart here. Now, it's kind of funky data in here, and I don't know how to overcome this, to be honest. Rhythmic always seems to, if anyone knows, like there must be some sort of refresher in here or something. I hate the way that it shows the weekly bar way up here. It should not. Okay, we can look at our daily bars though, and this one's really clear. I mean, look at how strong this one. Guys, we've been looking at this. We called for this way back. We started to see the breakout. We saw the bullish behavior. We're looking for continuation. We're looking for momentum. We're looking for this to break out of a range and continue higher. And that was the only read in here, right? And you can see these are days in here, so this was several days, but look at this strong breakout here, and look at the days in here. How far did this retrace? Not much, right? This is talk about a flag pattern. Here's our move up. It's back and forth in here and then continues to break out. Right now we have all sorts of fundamental news. We have FOMC, we have non-farm, all these different things going on at the same time as well. But it's all supportive in here for this bullish move. And this is the technicals that we're looking at. Right, so now it might have been different if we'd see maybe back and forth in here and then sellers at the bottom of this range and then a pullback into the range, this daily big range down here for several months, even like years. No, not years, but you know, several months in here. The weekly is years. Look at that. Breakout of this huge range here, no doubt about it. This is back in 22. And we talked about this. I remember, I forget who was on with in the discussion. We're looking for maybe possibly 4,300 last week, maybe last Friday, and the market came pretty close to it. Did not make it. We're looking at this swing here, and we can see what ended up happening. We broke up above it, and we talked about it. If it can get back up into this area in here, we're looking at 4,400, 4,500, 4,600. 46 is up here. Okay, and I still think that is the target, basically, okay? Up in that range up in here. But you know, we'll see. The momentum is there, though. Now, is this trade that I'm talking about, and I may have to jump over to show this in investing.com here, because we've got all the data here. This is a monthly chart, and this is a monthly chart of the S&P E-mini, and this is where it looks like it wants to go up here, and that is 4583 to 4600. It's a very strong breakout for the month, and the month will end in a couple more weeks here. We're about halfway through. Let's look at the weekly, though. Okay, and this is the chart I've been looking at, looking for the swing up in here in this zone up in here of sellers when the sellers came in and moved the market away. Yeah, 4,500 looks really good to me. We're pretty close to that as is, and we can see the strong moves in here. You know, we talked about this back here. In the breakout in here, and then we look for the move up into this target here, which was around our above 4,300, and it was bullish every week. Okay, so this is our extended week here, yeah, we continue to look for it to go higher until we see something else. Anyway, now the way that it gets there is going to be a lot more convoluted and challenging, and that's just trading. But this is what we're looking for. Bigger picture. Now, what I want to cover today is this pattern in here. Okay, and we're talking about the weekly here, right? It's this breakout in here. Right? This is what we're going to look for, and that's where we dive into Bookmap, and this is what we were looking for here, right here. Okay, on this breakout. Now it failed. And we'll cover this in just a minute here, but this is what we were looking for. We got it. And then when we left this and started to look at the bigger picture, we started to note this behavior in here. And we're like, well, wait a minute. This isn't really what we want to see. We don't want to see more supply here at this lower level in here. In fact, we don't want to see even these guys here. We want to see them getting out of the way like they did in here. Okay, we were looking for this. That the book was showing more. Let me zoom out a little. The book was right around in here. The book was showing more on the bid at a higher level. They're starting to pull on the offer. We're looking for the breakout up into 82 and then maybe 85. Okay, we got up to 82.75 or 83 liquidity right here, and then some back and forth, still bullish. Then this is not looking so good. Okay, what are these sellers? These sellers stayed in the book and they got filled here. That's what happened in the auction. Okay, and then our pullback here, we're still looking good here. Okay, now this high liquidity in here, this is where we get into the context and reading the behavior. Now we know what happened, right? But the reactions or your actions have to be consistent. You have to know what you're looking for, and look for something that you know works and gives you an edge. That's really the key here. So that takes experience or back testing and understanding, seeing this many times over, and then knowing that you have a scenario that you've covered many times, and then you look for the expectations to move in your favor. All right, so, or you have expectations for the move in your favor. The liquidity here, so what happened in here? So we saw that we got our buyers still looking pretty good. It broke out, and then well, they actually started to take these guys on. So this is still bullish. Okay, they're taking them on, so that's good. Still staying in the trade here. That's the behavior. Just because there's high liquidity, this is not what we want to see, and I especially don't want to see this high liquidity here. That does trade, and buyers couldn't get through it. Okay, but did we get sellers down here? No. So the structure is still in play. Okay, if we saw sellers down below in this area, below these swings, that's where the structure is broken and we can get the sellers to move into the lower areas of liquidity. Okay, so back and forth, buyers take these guys on. That's bullish. The book is getting bullish here. Look at the book. This is good. Okay, well, we trade up into this liquidity here, trade into this liquidity here. Okay, they're still selling in here. They're taking on. Some of it pulled. Then they throw more liquidity in here, and buyers cannot get through it. We also have an iceberg here, okay, in the same moment. Getting filled in this area in here. We have high liquidity. We have an iceberg. And did we get through it? No. Do we start to see sellers on the offer? Yes. Let's see. Do we see sellers down here at this swing? Starting to. Let's make the dots a little bit bigger. Okay. Yeah, they're starting to show up. Okay, there they go again. Okay. So let's see now if they should be able to. Now they traded into this liquidity that did stay in the book. So it's kind of still back and forth in here, in my opinion. I'm still looking to see if we can get sellers to reach down to 80, 81, or is that enough? And do we get buyers back up here at 82 and a half? Okay, see where the selling came in? I'm looking for them to be upended. So 82 and a half or 82 and 3/4, and we get green dots up here. I'm looking for this liquidity to trade. Okay, we didn't get it. We got exhaustion. We're getting more sellers looking for them to hit the bid into lower liquidity here, 81, maybe 80. And there they go. All right. So now this is new news to me. I hadn't seen this yet. We were just at, I think at this point where, or maybe we did see it. I can't recall. But anyway, we got the drop. All right. So the bears came in and moved it away. And let's just now go back and, well, here we are right back again. All right. So, and again, this is that same setup in here. Okay, here's our range. And we're going to go over this again and again and again today. Right? We can see it many times in here, actually. Let me outline it again. Okay, so here is our range. Here are our traders in here trying to get through, hit this liquidity here, and they can't get through. Right? So we rotate back down, and we get them again up here in this cluster. and then here they are breaking out. Okay, now this looks more bullish. Okay, now we're trading up to where these sellers came in. Let's see if we can. I'm looking for more buyers here into this liquidity here at 82, and I want to see them. I'm looking for those buyers to take these guys on and trade into them and through them, not to be absorbed here. In fact, I'd like to see these sellers get out of the way. I'd like to see the book support this move, and I'm not seeing that right now. Okay, so this again is not as high probability then. And now let's see here. Here we go. Okay, so they took them on, and there's still more buying pressure here. I would look for this to still go a bit higher here into some of this liquidity up above. Okay, now I don't like it though. This is not as high probability. I'm looking for maybe this to trickle up. Why? Because they got absorbed here. Although there was more buying pressure, look at the retest back up here as well. No buyers on the retest up here. Right? So this setup, yeah, it's kind of working, but it's not really looking that great. Right? But we're reading it again. Right? And let's look at it again. All right, so here they go again, up here. Do we get our buyers? And sellers come in on the offer. Look at that. So yeah, this is the auction that's taking place, and this is the behavior in this auction. There are more sellers here. There's more supply. Now we're finding sellers. Right? So this pattern in here we're looking for it to work and looking for it to work here, and it's not working. Look at this behavior. All right, so this is showing when it doesn't work. Right? We were looking for it to trickle up here, and then we saw all of this liquidity starting to come in, and it was here actually that we saw. And we're thinking, well, that's not really what we want to see. We want to see the opposite, and we don't want to see sellers down in these lower areas in here. Okay? And they hit the bid and went back down to this liquidity out here at 78. All right, so let's reset here and let's look for it again. Okay, and you can look at on microstructural levels in here, higher time frame levels, the monthly chart. It's all the same. The phenomena is the same. Okay, the setup is the same. We're looking for a distribution or accumulation, and then we're looking for the victor at the other side of the edge. Okay, and here they are again up here. Now here it's different. Okay, first off, it's not a whole lot of buying, but what about the order book? Well, they're up here really. I'm starting to see some action in here, but I don't see them really supporting it here on the bid though. Okay, so we get another rotation, and let's see if we can get back up here again. Okay, now the bid is showing a little bit more underneath here. All right, do we get our buyers up here? Now the liquidity, see the liquidity coming down here. So this isn't really it. It's not really doing it here. This is not what we're looking for. Okay, we wait and we look for the next one. In fact, exhaustion here, in through here, and sellers here. Okay, so then maybe let's look at bottom edge here, some selling. And we're only looking for sellers down here and for them to break it. And this would be the opposite setup. Sellers down here and for them to break it down below into this liquidity. And it's just back and forth right now. Morning, Stephen. Yeah, we start at 10 a.m. East Coast time. All right, so now they're starting to see the buyers come in. I'm looking for them to take it higher here. Like it's accepting outside of this range. Okay, and I'm looking for one more retest back up here at 81.5, and then 82.5, 83 to transact. Okay, now the reason why, okay, we're going to go through this again and again and again. Okay, back and forth in here. We saw some of the buying in here, but it wasn't so great. Okay, the book looks pretty good. We started to note, yeah, they're coming in here, but they're also down here. So it's not really that great of a setup. The buying coming in here is not that strong either. I don't see the big green dots, which means the bigger transactions happening outside of this small range here. All right, so we're really diving in here deeper into the ranges. Okay, back and forth, we're looking for them here. Nope. Okay, in fact, exhaustion, sellers, and then we're looking for sellers here. They don't show up, and what happens? We get our buyers back up here. Right? What about the book? Well, they pulled here, and the target is up here instead. Right? So, and then they're starting to support it a little bit higher. You can see that liquidity coming in the book. Now it's a little bit lower here. I'd like to see them up here at 80, and there is some starting to come in. That's when we're looking for this to go up into 80, 82.5, and 83. Okay, now I didn't know that this turned into 85. Okay, that's new information for me right now. Okay, but we saw it here. All right, let me know if you have any questions on this. I'm trying to be really crystal clear here, and that's a difficult thing to do in trading. But it's a very simple setup, and it's a very simple understanding of order flow phenomena here that we're looking for. All right, let me get to some questions here, and try to clarify a bit more. No questions. Okay. How about over in Discord? Got a good discussion going over there, guys. Okay. Good morning, Stan. Rob, good morning, Rob. Thank you for the coffee cup there. Slow down, really appreciate that. And Stan. Is it possible to execute one position on Bookmap and Rhythmic and represent 20 Apex? I don't know how that might work with Apex. That's a good question, Hector. Maybe reach out to support. Morning T here. How do you use the volume bubbles? Just like we're going over that right now. This is exactly how we're using them. Right? Now look again, this pattern in here is the same. This is a small range, and you can even look at this. I mean, it's a little more convoluted here, but you could say like this is maybe your range, and then this is what we're reading here in the transactions. Now there's some differences in here that I don't like seeing in here. Makes this read a little bit harder for this move up into 85. Okay, let's clear the drawings for a minute, and I'll show you what I mean. First off, we have high liquidity here. All right, now we're looking for the easy setup. And yeah, it's actually kind of doing it when we zoom in. See how they're kind of staying in the book here, but kind of pulling, and they are underneath here. This is a little late. This happened by the time it got up there. But here's some of the support underneath. Right? See how they're pulling, adding here, and we get buyers. Okay, so it's not actually that bad when we zoom in. It's not bad. But this is the zone we're looking at here. Okay, and at the top of the swing here, and we're looking for that continuation. Right. Now we're gonna let me know if you guys have any kind of questions on this. Like I said, you know, if your trading strategy is, and you like this strategy, you could be in it here on your weekly chart down here at 42.35. and you would still be in this back up at 44.80 or whatever it's at right now, 44.84. So it's the same setup. It's the same pattern. And look at your entry in here too. It's pretty horrible, right? I would have taken some off here, no question. I would even front run it a little bit and get out here, just above 43 it looks like, or around probably 4,300. Right, take some off and then look for the continuation. Do I use icebergs and stops? Absolutely. I really like the stops and icebergs and the added confluence, and that's how to use it. It's an added confluence. It is not a signal. Guys, it's starting to do this pattern again here. Now you can even call it maybe a cup and handle pattern. I don't know. The thing is though, is like it's starting to do it here. We're still running into liquidity. I'm looking for this though, not here so much. I want to see it up here. And I want to see the dots in here. Right? Big green dots. And then I'm looking for this. Right? So now, what we're looking for though, in this pattern is, number one, we've got to strike against this already. We don't want to see this high liquidity here. We want to see them get out of the way. We want to see the high liquidity target up here, 90. Right? We want to also see the book underneath here supported at a higher level, and it's starting to. But you see how this makes this, it turns this idea into a range bound trade right now. It's like it's not ready for this. In fact, we can get sellers here and they can come back down and test down to the 82, 81 area. How do I use the stops and icebergs? So again, it is a confluence to more additional information. We're reading the order flow in here. We're reading the order book for the current and historical market. That is the heat map, right? We're reading also within the price structure, we're reading the transactions. Where are they taking place? The volume dots. Okay, and that's what we're covering right now. We want to see the volume dots up here, and we want to see also that context between the order book. Now, the transparency, this is the way I read it and use stops and icebergs. It is a subset of the order flow. So order flow rules the day. And the transactions and price structure that rules the day. Okay? This is a confluence. It is the order types within the order flow. That is the subset part. Okay, who's using iceberg orders? Is anyone here using iceberg orders? Maybe a few. Maybe a few. We get all sorts in here. However, for the most part. And here's our move, guys. Like just from reading this in here and going through this scenario, we're looking for this, and it is not showing it. So we get another rotation down here. We might get even a trend down here. In fact, look at the selling here. This is the opposite setup. If we get more selling here, I'm looking for it to drop, and there it goes. Okay, maybe it can make it down to 77 here. Okay, it is the opposite, is the reflection of this. All right. And again, look at this horrible entry short. And did it even go against you though? Right. And that helps make this a higher probability outcome. Okay. Now, again, this is what we're doing in here. And I'm not trying to push this on anybody whatsoever. This is an idea, it's a concept, it's a scenario. Now go back and study this. Take a look at this. Prove it to yourself. This is just an idea. It's not a trade recommendation. It's not a trading room in here. However, is this something that helps you? Does reading this in here help you? Can you understand it? Do you have questions about it? Can you see it? Or maybe you see something else in here. And that can be very, very helpful. Right? So exposed to these ideas, and then you've got to carry it further. It just has to be that way. Morning, Deborah. Deborah, I hope you're listening, because like these are horrible entries, but this is what, and I just want to cover this one simple thing here. And you can get really good at it and read it if this is something that resonates with you. Now, we'll talk about the trade management here in a minute, because you have to actively manage this here, okay, until it starts trending your way, right? Okay, great, Derek. Yeah, if you guys like this kind of, please hit the like button. That we want to cover this information and try to give you insights and ideas for improving your trading. That's our goal. We have a community in here as well, our Discord channel. We've got all sorts of support materials for you. We have these live webinars, other events. We have multiple traders in here and all day long that can help you with all sorts of different ways of trading. Okay, we have, like I said, J Trader, Scott Pulcini, trading different instruments, futures, stocks, cryptocurrencies, John Slazas. We have Tom B, a volume profile trader. We have Charles from Pirate Traders, another volume profile trader. We have Doug looking at options and a very proprietary strategy he has for that. We have a lot of different things going on in here to support you. Okay, so this should help your trading. That's our goal. All right, so we'll talk about the trade management here in a second. I think what would be better is maybe I go over a trade that was taken early. Again, like this is just an idea, all right? And then we'll look at the live market in here. You can see that I was just about to say, this move to the downside is starting to gain some momentum here. Now, this is the swing here. There's still momentum though. I'm still seeing it in here. I'm still looking for it to go further. Let's see if we can get down to this 71-ish area here. Okay, so this is kind of a tough one to, it's a little tougher. Typically, we look for taking some profit off down here at the bottom of the range. We put that together with the targets of liquidity in here. The reason that I was looking for this to continue is something different. It is because of the strong selling in here, and I just don't see buyers, so I'm looking for that continuation. Right, and you can see it's already retraced right back up into this area. So, you could still be in it, still looking for that continued momentum in here, but that has really slowed now. You see the buying interest coming in, or they're covering, but there's still more sellers in here so far. Okay, so you have to be careful with your management on that. Yeah, now you see the buyers coming in. So anyway, let's cover this trade, kind of demo trade in here, and to go over the concept. Okay, and I'll show you how I made an error in here as well. Okay, this was pre-market. I was in some meetings, and I just can't help it. So here's, I can't help but still take some get some strategies going in here and try to learn and get from the make this into a higher probability trade. Okay, understand it at a deeper level, and then go back. How can I improve on it? So let's cover it. All right, I missed it. I saw this unfold here. I saw the buying starting to come in here. Okay, just like that same concept we were just covering in here, I started to see it in here, right there. And I'm looking for those buyers. I just wasn't quick enough. And it just killed me to see that happen. Okay. However, what did I do? Okay, so now up here, traded into this liquidity here. back and forth in here, and I saw it again. Okay, I'm holding off. I'm looking for the retest, and I got in. So I got in here, and then it traded into this liquidity, which I thought was going to get out of the way. It didn't. It traded, and then I saw exhaustion here. I got out. This is a 5 lot. I got out 3 here. I still have 2 left. Right, so I placed my stop down here just below the break even point of entry here, and I almost got stopped out. I thought I was going to get stopped out. That's why I even put the OCO order in here, because I saw that exhaustion here. Right, so but I still believe in the trade, and still looking for it to continue on. I know that the move is to the high side. I know that there's more buying at these higher highs here. So it continued. Okay, so back and forth in here. Oh, I'm sorry, this is where I made my error. Okay, so it traded up again here. There was no I got out one of the contracts here, and there's no reason for that. Okay, this is still quite bullish in here. Okay, so this is something like I have to get better at. There's support here also, and I thought, well, I don't know. It's had a good run, and again, I'm mildly paying attention to this, and I'm not trying to use that as an excuse, but yeah, I need to get better at it here, right? So anyway, I took one off here, wanted to reduce more risk, try to get the bigger runner here. Okay, so and then held it here. Back and forth in here, and then I got my my target up here at 84.5. Okay, I always look to front run. This is something I like to do. Front run that high liquidity in here, and others had the same idea. And in fact, I didn't even see this get filled. This happened later, or I noticed it later. I had to do other things. I turned away, and then this fill happened here, and then look what happened. Look at the BS here, right? Look at this deep pullback here, and then what did it do? It actually came back up and went through this high liquidity here at 85. So do I kick myself for this? No, I don't. This is what I was looking for, and that's what it did. So I look for the next one after that. As simple as that. Okay, and yeah, and when did that occur? Well, we'd have to kind of dig deeper into this, and when you might look to get back in. Now, the question about the trade management in here. So I went through my trade management on this position here, and again, Deborah, look at this. Look at how horrible this entry is. It's just horrible, right? Obviously, it would have been, I would have loved to have gotten in here. I saw this starting to unfold. I would have taken some off up here. Okay, and then you can do that, and you can also get into another position here, okay, and then look to manage that. You could do that many times over within just this small move here. And we're only talking about, what, half an hour or less than that. Yeah, I guess 45 minutes or so. A little less than 45 minutes. Anyway, that was my process in here. And now let's talk about some of the trade management, though, and then how to keep yourself accountable and keep yourself in check, because this is the other side that not many people talk about. Reducing the risk. A lot of people talk about that, but it's the playing with your head part in here, like this would if you're still in it. How do you manage that? Right, so suppose you're already in it, you took some off, you got your runners on, and you start to see this going against you like this. All right, let's just keep it simple in here for now. Really simple. And the simple thing to do to clear your head and just get, you know, clarity in your consciousness here, is take your stop at break even. You're done with this trade. It didn't work any longer. All right, and you wouldn't have had to deal with this here. And yes, you would have lost out on this one, this target up here. You would have lost out on maybe this target here, but you wouldn't have lost money. Would have made a bit of money here when you reduce some of the risk, and you would have been stopped out for maybe a small loss. Maybe you got slipped. Maybe you can see mine was just a tick or two below my break even. I think a tick, so it would have been a small loss, okay, on the remaining 2 contracts here, right? And then that's it. Right now, we don't know if this, what it's going to do. Maybe it comes down to way down to here. Pretty strong selling coming in here. Okay? It was just countered, just a V bottom. It's countered by strong buying right back up into these areas here. So that's what happened in the market. But this is how I had my control on it and clarity, and how I was going to react and behave within this price action. Okay, so there's many different ways to do this. This is where you're going to have to kind of figure out what gives you clarity of mind, and what works for you, what makes you more profitable. Okay, maybe you leveraged into this position, and maybe you're holding a bundle here. Now, do you want to have that go against you? You'd be for a loss down in here. That's really going to screw with your head. Okay, so how do you deal with that? Well, take your small loss. That's one way, at least. Let's see here. Tom has some questions, some other questions in here. Okay, hold on a minute. And guys, hit the like button, please. Would love to see a bunch of likes on this one. I'm trying to go through and you know, hit more of the trade management for you guys. Okay, let's see. We'll start with. Yeah, Derek. Oh yeah. Well, you can come to our Discord channel. Like I said, these are the YouTube events. Ask questions in here. The discussion continues over in Discord all day long. All right. You're still working on understanding the relationship between iceberg stop runs and its effect on price action. It's the opposite. It's the one way to look at it, I think, is the opposite. Is like I said, it's a subset of the order flow. Yes, it can have an effect on it, but it's going to be more muted. It's more like if you have those icebergs going in the direction that you're looking for in the order flow, or the stops, if that makes sense in clarity with what you're seeing in the bigger picture of reading the order flow, not the bigger picture time frame, but it could be. Right? This is not a red light, green light signal down here. Okay, this is about understanding who's using stops. Who in here is using stops? I imagine pretty much everybody, right? Yeah, thanks there, Ken. Yeah, you're using stops. Yeah, we're all retail traders and smaller players. We don't have, you know, we might have 10 lots on or something, but like most likely we do not have 100 lots on. If we were, we'd probably be using iceberg orders. Right. So anyway, that's who's using these order types, which is a subset of the order flow. So we can see this is a big stop run up here too, right? So that's where you can start to look at this move in here. Is it new buying? You know, actually, you see the stop run all the way through here. Starts here, it's here, and it's here, all the way up. Lots of stops. And that begs another question in here about what are these transactions? Is it new buying coming in? We'd have to dig into a little deeper. We know that there's a lot of stops though. A lot of these transactions are stops. Okay, so we can look for sellers to come in and bring it back down into the range if that is the case. So that would be one of the scenarios to read in here using the stops. Okay, that you know that there's a lot here. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to reverse and come back down like this. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to continue either. We want to understand though, you know, after the event of the stops, what's happening in here. And you can see that, yeah, there was some more buying actually here. This is new buying mostly right here. Okay, because we don't see as many stops. But look at who's taking the other side of the trade in here. And so we see a lot of icebergs absorbing, and then we do see the move here with the aggressors moving price back down into these swings. Okay, so that's going through a few different scenarios in here about using the stops and icebergs. Okay, but it's really this what we want to understand first with the price action, the transactions, and the historical and current order book. Does that make sense, Tom? I hope that answers your question. Well, just I would suggest like it's kind of a maybe it's kind of a tough thing for us as retail traders to kind of digest, is to look at these charts and don't think about, you know, it being like, oh, it's price action and like price went up this way because of that, and this is really about the behavior of players in here. It is an auction. It's the condition of the auction. So you're looking at it through a different window, or you know, glass, and starting to understand that what do some of these moves mean in here. And if it's a big stop run, you know, a lot of people getting stopped out back up in this area here. Now what we need to see is like, okay, well then is there going to be a bunch of buying except above where that stop run is? And actually there was. It's kind of a tricky move in here because there's not too many stops in here. They're mostly up at the top, it looks like. So this is new buying coming in, right? Because we know it's not a whole lot of stops. So it must be new buying. Okay, so yeah, we also know that we definitely have this context. It's high liquidity getting filled. They're staying in the order book. And we also know we have iceberg, larger players on the other side absorbing. Okay, so that is the context here, right? And that would help give us some insight. We don't know. In fact, this still looks good for me, like to accept higher, to come back up into here and accept higher and trade up into 4,500. Okay, what ended up happening was we can see the move up, the move right back down, okay, back and forth in here. And then on the bid here, this still looks good. I like it. Okay, they can, these sellers can hit the bid in here. That's fine. Sorry guys, I hope I don't have a crash here. Hold on. I'm gonna have to dump some stuff. Okay. Are you still with me? I've had some issues with this machine. Okay, good. All right, let me get back to the boy, that was a close one. Hold on a minute here. Okay, you guys are still here. Okay, good. All right. Excellent. So anyway, this is still looking pretty good. You know, traded. This is where this breakout occurred here. We have support here. The sellers took them on. Still looking good. Okay, this is where we really tune in here, and we're starting to see even here, like some buyers in here looking for them to lift it. They did, and then it kind of petered out pretty quickly, and we see a bunch of selling come in. Okay, we have our retest here, and this is not looking good now at this point. Okay, we don't have enough buyers here. And then this is really not looking good here. We have sellers coming in, right? At this point here, we can put together lower highs, lower low with selling down in this area here. I would look for at least the move back down to some of these transactions down here, and we do get that, and then we get our continuation here. Okay, now that read for me at least didn't happen until it gets here. Right, so I would still look for this to continue. Right, and then this turned into a pretty nice move here to the downside, and that's after the cash open. Okay, and then we had our data, and then it's been bullish until recently here. All right, so it's turning into quite a choppy day actually, and let's take a look at our bigger picture in here. Okay, so we went over the hourly, we went over the daily, the weekly, the monthly. Our hourly is here in the middle. We still have this huge gap from the other day on on the 12th, and we have a small gap in here as well, as you can see. The few small gaps. This was filled, but this was not. And then our 15-minute chart here. Yeah, it's looking pretty back and forth in here. Nice gap again, but it's already been filled. And then it's just back and forth right now. In fact, quite a bit of selling. Look at the selling in here. This is not really what we're looking for continuation. Okay, so this is looking more like a distribution up here than it is like a continuation. Right, so I think we're set up for a pretty choppy day. And let's take a look at these sellers in here. All right, so I'm actually see the sellers right now here at 73. All right, well, let's see. We know we have some buying wicks here, but if the selling can continue here, this will be the third attempt down here. We can get sellers in here in Bookmap. I'm looking for them to trade back down to here, which is our 68 or 69 level here. And let's see if we let's tune into Bookmap and oh, you're welcome, Tom. Starting to digest, starting to make sense. Keep it simple, right? And look for something where the behavior is they're telling you, the participants are telling you something here. It's like everyone's starting to go this way or that way in here. Okay, in fact, this here I don't like it. I see buyers and sellers in this little range in here, and this is not what I'm looking for. Okay, in that little pattern that we were talking about earlier, we're looking for those buyers in here. We're looking for those buyers in here. Okay, and this is not it. We're looking for sellers in here. Well, look at our delta down here, our volume dots here, in this price action. Okay, there's sellers, there's buyers, a little bit of selling here. Actually, it's actually looking pretty good if we could get, let's see it. Let's see if we may actually get it. We get our buyers back up here. And we're not right now, but it might rotate back up and we might get that. Okay, so that would be a scenario here. The other scenario is that we're going to come down here and base for a little bit back and forth, but we're looking for our sellers to pick up. Maybe they break this little range in here and start to pick up in here, right? And we're looking for those sellers. Then I'd love to see that liquidity pulled and then for them to move. Okay, so here comes our range bound trade back up to the top of the range here. Okay, let's zoom in. Okay, order book's really not helping us here. We can see that some liquidity up here, not much on the bid, but there's more actually up here in the offer. I'm still, now it's starting to look a little bit better. I really don't like it though. It's not really the that convincing here. So I'd stay away from it. Okay, I do like to see this book though. That's a good sign. Starting to see how they're adding up here. Okay, I just don't see the aggressors, and I don't see them pulling here. I see them actually adding a bit here on the offer. That's not what I'm looking for. Right now, it might do it, might break out. It would leave me behind though, and I'm happy to let it go. This opportunity will come up many times over. All right. Let's see here. Any questions guys have here? Yeah, it turned into quite the choppy day here, Philip. In fact, you know, quite looks like quite a distribution back and forth in here to me. Right now you can see we didn't get our sellers down here. We were just talking about that and looking for them. Now I would really like to see one more retest down here, and then we get our sellers. Yeah, that would look good. That would look really good. For the breakdown lower, maybe back down into 65. In fact, here, this swing. Yeah, this is the bottom. Icebergs is blue, stops are red. Okay, well, here come our sellers here. Yeah, I still don't like it. There's liquidity there at 73, and they're adding more at 72 and also at 71.25. I don't see a lot on the offer. So again, it just doesn't look that great. Hey, we're looking for it. I mean, we have our scenario outlined in here, what we're looking for. Okay, and then we're looking here now in Bookmap and understanding this move into this liquidity here. And it's not really what we're looking for, that continuation. Okay, so we'll stay away from it. Okay, we're just covering that one pattern really today. Thought I'd just focus on that. Deborah, I do trade on rollover and expiry. I mean, today is expiration. We'll at the end of the day, we'll see some pretty big swings, I imagine, with the options. Guys, it kind of did it in here. You can see it's not really a great example, but it, you know, off of here, you see the buyers, some back and forth, and then we got our buyers here again. That's when we're looking for the move. Really, for me, only up to here at 74.5. And I know it's not much, but just to look for this again and again. Okay? And they're still buying, so now I'm looking for 77. And as I say, it's already moving. Okay, but anyway, it's really understanding this in here, this kind of move off of here, buyers, some back and forth. Buyers again. Okay, let's see them lift it up to test where these sellers came in. And so it's come up quite a bit higher, 77. Okay, this was a stop run here, as you can see. Now, not all of them are stops. Okay, again, but understanding that context, people getting stopped out here, icebergs in this area were buying, and not a whole lot either. Okay, but this is where that market kind of pulled away. Now we know, okay, look at our delta in here. Look at the, big dots. Look at the big bars. We're reading the buyers starting to come in. That's looking pretty good, but it's not looking that great in the relative volume here compared at these the delta bars. Okay, but we can put a little bit of a different spin, and this is the read here that you guys are asking about on the stops. This is a stop run. Okay, now let's actually add the stops on chart so we can get into the more of the details here. Okay, so 99 of the contracts that traded in here was a stop run. In fact, let's dig real deep in here, and we'll look at the details. The fact here is that's 19, 7, 48. So that's the biggest one. There's a bunch of little stop runs in here. This is the biggest one here, and 48 started here, it ended here, and then market or the stopped transacting, and then they started again down here. Now this book sweep in here, there's not really a book sweep either. There's a transaction here and a couple transactions in here. In a book sweep, we're looking for nothing but selling to hit the bid here. And there's some back and forth in here. Okay, so yeah, this stop run down here is kind of takes some of the power out of it. You can see when we zoom out, it aggregates them in together all together. So you get 107 actually is what it's showing in this little area here, and you can see it here in the subchart too. If we zoom in on the subchart, you'll see that 48 is the big one. Wherever it was. Yeah, this one here, and there's the drop right there. Okay. All right. Okay, so we made it through 77, and we're still moving. Okay, bid looks pretty strong. Buyers coming in. They're staying in the order book at 80 though. Icebergs in here about 30, it looks like, so not a whole lot. This time of day is kind of things really kind of slow down, and then it'll pick up in just a little bit here with the London European close, and we'll see some volatility in here likely. All right, buyers are able to trade into and through. Some stops are hit. Another stop run. Okay, the buying looks pretty strong. Let's see if we can get a pullback here to this 80 level. All right, and let's see, is it still supported? So far, so good. 208 stopped out there. Look at that. So people, I don't know, bought in here are already getting stopped out, or maybe it's maybe it's a stop to enter. knows? That part we don't know, but typically it's a stop run, and we can know the stop run. In fact, it is a stop run because look, it happened over 1, 2, 3 levels here, 3 price levels. Right. Okay, so now here's our cluster of buying. Do we see them again up here? Yeah. Yeah, they traded into this liquidity again. I don't really like it that liquidity still hangs out here. And I'm looking for we're looking for this support on the bid underneath here, and we don't really see it. Okay, so let's see, we get a little bit more buying up here. Yeah, don't like it. Don't like it at all. That's not the kind of buying we're looking for here. Okay, and then no support in the book. Watch, sellers can come in here and drive this down into this liquidity at these lower levels here. All right, let me see more questions here. Tom, well, one of the things to look at is, start with the day. Scott Pulcini, for example, on Thursdays is an expert with the stops and icebergs. He's been tracking it and following it for years. He has certain thresholds he's looking for. I would suggest coming to those webinars, or you can even look at some of the recordings on our YouTube channel. However, also another method is for you to record your data in here and then go back and retest and look at it and come up with your own kind of numbers in here. You can also just look at them in here, like for today, and just look at this. This is why I actually like it as the swings in here, or the axes are. I have it set up differently than Scott does. I have it had the accumulation method here for me is the summation, both stops and icebergs. The axes are not the same here, but I have the relative values here between the two, that context between the two. Right, so you would have to come in here and really kind of look at it and say like, okay, well, this is significant for today, or for this instrument, and maybe it's for today. Maybe you can start to come up with a consensus that it's actually not just for the day, but in general. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Deborah, okay, it does not matter if I'm right. I don't care. I want to read the behavior and look for the follow through. Really, the more that I have found, and I think the more objective I can be with this, the better it works. Did I read the behavior of these traders in here? Is it what I'm looking for? No, it wasn't. I could look for sellers to come in. Okay, they did this time. Now we went back and forth a bunch here as well. Okay, so and we still have the potential here, sellers, to drop it into these levels here. Now, if they do or not, we don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. And there's a lot of exhaustion here, but they can still come in and sell here hard, trade right into 70, 77 and 76.5. And that's what they decided to do. See, they just kind of came in out of the blue, right? The one thing that gave us a little bit, and look at that liquidity follow down underneath. Look at that. And now, what's the reaction to that liquidity? Well, actually, some buyers are kind of interested. So that's our condition here. And now we're seeing that they're even more aggressive with their passive orders here. They're at a lower level here. Now this is the close, right? This is that volatility we just spoke of here. So the battle's kind of going on here at the European close. And what does that mean? It means the behavior in here of the traders is a little different. They're doing different things here at the close. Okay, more sellers come in, dropping it lower. And again, we were looking for this potentially. It was a hard read though. What the only thing that helped in here was the exhaustion up here. And then we're looking, we don't even have, we have exhaustion here on the sell side as well. There's nothing trading down here. And then we start to see the selling come in here. And I know it happened quickly. That's why it's a hard read. But we didn't see the buying up here. And that was kind of the key. And then this got really convoluted in here. There were sellers, there's more on the offer, but the buyers were interested. Then they weren't. And then there's more on the offer here, and the sellers came in and moved it. And so now it looks like they're going to try to continue to move it into lower liquidity. Okay. And did they show up? A little bit down here. Yeah. Now see, watch the buyers try to pull it away here. Okay. And can they do it? All right. So far, so good. Now that starting to bait is done the pull away. Now, what if we're looking for this up here at this 76 3/4? Do we get our dots? Does the order book support it on the bid? Okay, if we get our green dots in here, that's now this is a very small example of that same pattern that we were looking at. And we look for this potentially. That's a tough read too. I mean, like, boy, you know, I mess a little too lofty of an idea. Maybe up here would be the first target, something like that. And let's go over another thing in here. We talked about this earlier that I was going to cover some of this, the trade management. All right. So what do you do with this? Let's suppose now again, this is not a trade recommendation. This is not a trading room. We're looking for something to unfold, and then we're looking for the continuation here. And this failed. How do you manage it? And let's suppose you got in here. Okay. Well, in this case, you'd probably have a small loss. Okay. Your stop would probably be down here, and you'd have a loss of like 1.5 points. This didn't even come up to your first target. Okay, so and then just look for the next one. Okay, here, maybe it's starting to do it again. Okay, now, are we even at a level we're kind of interested in on the bigger time frame? Not really. We're just covering this because we want to cover as many examples of this as we can. So anyway, we're getting our continuation here lower. This is where we saw the pull away. We did see it here, right? And that's when we saw it move up into 77. We were just looking for it to move up into 74.5 to begin with. Take some off and try to get a runner. Okay, more sellers. And more sellers hitting into that liquidity. It looks like sellers are going to take this down, maybe go to lows of the day here. Okay, now what's happening here? Bigger picture. Remember we talked about this? It actually, we're looking for it in here. It retraced, it came all the way back down here. Now, do we get our sellers down here? And if so, yep, let's see if we can get just not only down to 68.5, let's see if we can get down to 65. Okay, so yeah, looking pretty decent. They're on the offer. They are on the bid though too. But we are getting our sellers here. Let's see if they can pick it up here and move this market. Nope, not on that rotation. Nope, not yet. All right, let's see if we get them here again. Now, this is kind of a different pattern that we're looking for in here. It's different than what we've been covering this whole webinar. We're kind of looking for it. We're looking for those sellers here, and it is bottom edge where we're looking for these sellers here. Okay. We don't want to see this liquidity though. That's, again, this is the book on the offer is looking great. And now that just shifted. Okay, see how they all pulled at the same time here. So, you know, some player in here just decided to pull all of that liquidity in here. So this equation is very different now. And this is, again, that kind of volatility. And what we're talking about here is at this European close. Right? Now, it's not an excuse. It's just this is what happened. And I think it attributes to the European close here. That this is, it's got to be the same player, at least on some of these levels. They pulled all that liquidity at the same time. Okay, so now we're getting our buyers back up here. Yeah, I still don't like it. It's just not quite what we're looking for. So we stay away. But where I was going with this here was that kind of the bigger picture is the here that liquidity is coming back in again here. Now what happens? We find sellers. All right, sellers should be able to now drive this into 70 and through it. Okay, now we're looking for that here. Okay, and there they go. Okay, and we're looking for 67 and then maybe 65 here. Okay, and why we're looking for 65 is because of our bigger picture here, right, on our 15-minute chart. Okay, now if it didn't fill the gap before, it just did now. Looked like it filled it before. I can't really, I don't have really clear vision for these charts here. But yeah, I would like to see it come down into the swing below here, around 65. So still looking for that selling pressure to continue into those areas here. Right, so and the reason why is we're talking again about momentum here. Okay, we found this, and then we're looking for that continuation. We said no, they're not ready here, not ready. Okay, it swung back again. Then we saw this, and we were going, okay, this looks pretty good. It fits our bigger picture. We're looking for the continuation. Right, and we have our reasons on our bigger picture. Okay, the bigger picture, and let's take a look at it here, and let's take our stops and icebergs off the chart for just clarity's sake. Our bigger picture is this: we've hit, we see sellers. Okay, so this actually does kind of fit that pattern, to be honest. And it's this cluster in here. It's a bigger cluster, basically. Actually, we can even make it smaller. It did go back up. It swung up back up above it here, but it's this cluster in here. And we're looking for those sellers down here. We got it, so we're looking for the follow through. And what is nice about this is it fits this picture here. It retested, it swung back up and made a lower high. It retested again. We're looking for follow through. Okay, now it just went below our swing. So it must have hit our 65 level. And it did. All right. That was my expectation, and I would be out of the trade. All right. So anyway, these are, again, it's not trade recommendations. These are concepts and ideas for you guys to go back in to look at in Bookmap, and to start doing some studies, start making your own content on this, mark it up, mark up your charts, share them in our Discord, and get some feedback from other people. And then go back in replay mode. If you do that, you will understand at a higher level. First off, it will answer a question: is this something you like? Does this fit the way that you trade the markets? Okay, and answer that question. And then secondly, you'll just get a lot better at it if it is something that you like, if it jibes well with you. All right, guys. Well, yeah, please hit the like button, and let's wrap it up. So we won't meet on Monday. It's a Juneteenth holiday here in the U.S. We will see you guys on Tuesday. Okay. All right, guys. So, and again, look at this. Look at the liquidity coming in, and look at the pull away here. And right at our European close here. So this is why I got out. All right. So and I just look for the next one. And is this the next one? It's not bad. It's not bad. Look at the buying in here. Look at the book in here. I find more buyers. Great. Maybe we can get back up into this swing up here, 74. Maybe, something like that. 74, 75, something like that. All right. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Yep. Thank you, Deborah. Happy Father's Day to everyone out there, and enjoy the Monday holiday. Take care. Bye-bye.